Hello and welcome to lesson number 3 in how to read music. And in today's lesson, we're going to be learning all about how to name the notes on the keyboard. And you will discover in this lesson the musical alphabet and tricks and patterns to naming notes on the keyboard. So the music notation is a method, it's a graphic representation of the idea in the composer's mind of how he wants the piece of music to sound, how low does he want it to be, how basically the keys on the, as far as the piano is concerned, what notes you play on the keyboard is going to be telling you how high or low the music should be sounding. And the notes are geometric shapes, and we also use lines. So they're circles and lines. The music note is simply a circle, and the circle can be either coloured in white or it could be coloured in black. And the circle could be just a plain circle, or it might have a line going up from the right-hand side upwards, or it could have a vertical line from the left-hand side pointing downwards, or it could have a dot next to it as well. Now, if a circle has a vertical line going up, what it means is that it's sitting on the staff in the position of the third staff from the bottom upwards. But if it has a vertical line on the left-hand side pointing downwards, it means that on the sheet music it's sitting on the third line of the staff, or at any point below the third line. Right, so note names. Well, we call the notes by the letter name. So the white keys will be called its letter name, and that they will just be designated. And the black keys, they will derive their name depending on the sign next to them. And they'll either be called the name for the white key that's on the left of them, or the white key that's on the right of them. Now the names of the notes are derived from the musical alphabet. As you can see, we've got A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And you can see here piano keyboard where I've sort of cut up the piano keyboard into sets of 2s and 3s there, and I've written down there the name of the letter that's allocated to that particular note on the keyboard. So the music alphabet is simply the first 7 letters from the alphabet, namely A to G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And the most common letter from the alphabet that we use is C, because C is often our reference point, especially to link the piano to the grand staff, to the sheet music. And in the keyboard, if we go to the very centre of the keyboard, there's a particular note there, and that note is called C, and because it's in the centre of the keyboard, that note is known as middle C. And then if you look at the sheet music, we have the two staves there, the top staff with the treble clef, and the staff at the bottom that has a bass clef on it. Now, right in the middle, and you know these staves are just simply lines, a series of horizontal lines, and we go into more of that in a later lesson. Now, right in the middle of that sheet music, there's this little space, and then there may well be a little note written in there in the middle, a little circle with a line drawn through it, a horizontal line. Now that note will be called C, and it's sitting right in the middle between the treble clef and bass clef, and that note is called middle C. So there's a pattern here, of course, for the musical alphabet. If you have a note, if you found the note on the piano keyboard which is called C, well, you can ask yourself, what's a note going to be? What's going to be the name of the note, which is right next to middle C, to C? Well, the note to the right of C is going to be D, and then it carries on. The note to the right of the D note is going to be called E, and the note to the right of the E note is going to be called F. The note to the right of the F note is going to be called G. What happens next? What is the name of the note next to G? Well, because we finished the musical alphabet at G, then we go back to the beginning. So the note to the right of G is going to be called A. And then this will continue. So the note to the right of A will be called B. The note to the right of B will be called C. The note to the right of C will be called D, and so on. So I have an exercise here for you to do at home. Write out the musical alphabet for yourself by placing a letter into each of the boxes below. And as you can see, how many boxes are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 boxes for the 7 letters of the musical alphabet. Now we're going to name the keys, the notes on the keyboard. So you can see here a diagram on the video of the piano keyboard, and notice that there are black keys and white keys. And on some of the white keys I've drawn little circles, and I've put them into little colours as well. Now all those notes just happen to be C. So I've coloured the one in grey in the middle of there, which is identifying a middle C. And then I've got some C's further up and C's further down. But if you can see the pattern here, can you notice that the little circle that I've drawn here is actually appearing on the white key, which is to the left of the 2 black keys? Do you see that? So let's move on. We've got the grand staff here, and just referring to what I said before, we have the treble clef, the staff of the treble clef, the staff below it with the bass clef, and right in the middle, in that little white space, we have a little circle that I've drawn with a little horizontal line going through it, and that is what we call middle C, and that's your reference point for linking the middle C on the staff, on the grand staff, to the middle C on the piano. And we learn in a future lesson how to connect the notes from the sheet music to the notes on the piano keyboard. So let's get familiar first with the naming the notes on the piano keyboard now. So if you look at the piano keyboard, there was a pattern. So can you tell me what the pattern is? I think it's pretty, it does stand out for you. The pattern is the black notes, the black keys. So they sit there in a pattern of 3 and 2 and 3 and 2, and it just continues on in the same pattern. And you'll find this is what we look for when we look at music. We always look for patterns. Well, there do seem to be a lot of patterns, and also it saves us time if we can identify at first glance the patterns. So in this video slide now, we have the pattern of, I've put the starting off with 2s and 3s and 2s and 3s. It's the same. It doesn't matter whether you're looking at the 3s or 2s, or 2s or 3s. It's the same. It just rotates. Oh, look, you can see that there's also a pattern for the white keys. So you can see that where you have 2 black keys, you're going to have 3 white keys either side of it. And later on you'll see, if you look at the 3 black keys, you're going to see 4 white keys either side of it. So you just increase the number of keys by 1 for the black keys. So 2 black keys will be surrounded by 3 white keys, and 3 black keys will be surrounded by 4 white keys. Now, to name the notes, the white notes will be allocated one of those 7 letters from the musical alphabet. So you see I've got arrows pointing to the white notes, and they're going to have to be given one of those letters from A, B, C, D, E, F, G. But how do we know which letter the note is supposed to be given? Well, let's find out. Okay, well, remember the pattern of black keys. It's what we need to look for. The black keys themselves will derive their names from the white keys that are located either side of them. So yes, we also have a pattern for the white keys. If you look at that, we have a pattern of 3 white keys and then a pattern of 4 white keys. And within those white keys, you have the black keys, 2, the set of 2 and the set of 3. So how do we name the note which is called D? Well, the note which is called, the key which is called D on the keyboard, the white key called D, now that is exactly in the middle of those 2 black keys and that set of 2 black keys. So that note right in the middle of those 2 black keys is going to be called D. Now, moving on to the other keys either side of D, well, the note to the left of D is going to be called C, and the note to the right of D will be called E. You'll also see that another way to identify C is to look for the two black keys, and you'll see that the white note to the left of the first of the two black keys is called C. And then if you're looking for E, if you get the set of two black keys, and the note to the right of the second black key is called E. So this is a pattern that you just need to simply memorize and remember. C, D, E over those surrounding those two black keys. Now we'll move on to the pattern of the three black keys. So we have the white key that's to the left of the three black keys is what we call F. And the white key to the right of the third black key is what we call B. And then if we find the F and then move to the right, to the key to the right, it's going to be called G. And if we find the B and move to the left, that key is going to be called A. So then we have the alphabetical pattern of F, G, and then after G we go back to A. So F, G, A, B. So the white keys surrounding the three black keys are called F, G, A, B. So, what about the notes, keys, signatures, and accidentals? Well, which note the black key will be named after will depend on the key signature of the piece of music and or the presence of another music sign referred to as an accidental. So, it could be a sharp, it could be a flat, or it could be a natural. And you will learn more about those signs when we go through music terminology later in the course. So I have an exercise for you to do at home, which is to name the notes on the piano. Draw your own piano keyboard, and then label the notes of the white notes of the keyboard with the letters from the musical alphabet, A to G. And in the next 5 days, make 5 drawings of your keyboard and name the notes. Take photos of your drawings and upload them onto the Facebook group. Do the work, make it real. And thank you for your time. Goodbye.